No DQ Galaxy. We are live with predictions for WWE Survivor Series 2024. WarGames is back once again. WWE Survivor Series heading to Canada. Botch. Vancouver, Canada. But Victoria is a very nice city. I've been to both Victoria and Vancouver. Vancouver deserves a WrestleMania. There's that fan that always brings the sign Vancouver for WrestleMania, never gets it. Vancouver's a great city for wrestling, and I think that they're going to be a red-hot crowd for Survivor Series. Looking forward to it. We have a very interesting men's War Games match. We have a women's match, which is maybe not as interesting. And then we have a World Championship match, which to me is really not that interesting. And then that's about it. We have 3 matches confirmed for Survivor Series. But I do want to get everyone's excitement level for the show as of now with what we know going in. And by the way, just so everybody out there knows, we will be talking spoilers because we know who has the advantage in the men's match, and we also know who replaced Jade Cargill on the Rhea Ripley team for Survivor Series. We're going to be talking about that, so just a little notice, a little warning for anybody out there that does not want spoilers. You might want to turn off at certain points, and I'll give you the heads up when we're ready to talk about it. But anyways, let's get everyone's overall thoughts. Good old JM Jeff Meacham, the no DQ veteran. He's been watching since Survivor Series 1990 when The Undertaker debuted. Survivor Series has been through a lot of ups and downs over the years, from the Montreal Screwjob to John Cena, Shawn Michaels, Triple H in a triple threat, Triple H getting super kicked out of the ring immediately. We've seen a lot in Survivor Series history. Jeff, your thoughts on this show? How excited are you on a scale of 1 to 10?
Well, for me, it's always higher for Survivor Series. It's the first pay-per-view that came up during my fandom, which, as you said, started with the Survivor Series 1990, the lead up to that show. I always think about The Undertaker this time of year. Thanksgiving's on the horizon, which, for me is always a good thing. So I'm actually at a solid 9 out of 10, only because it's the Survivor Series. Yes, we have 3 matches as of now, but I have confidence in Paul Levesque that he will add more creative to this Saturday's show. Yeah, I always look forward to this time of year as far as Survivor Series week. It's right around your birthday, which is always awesome. It's Survivor Series is generally that last week. Thanksgiving and football on Thursday, always good, and then the Macy's Parade on Thursday, which is also one of my favorite things. So I love this time of year period, which is why my anticipation is so high.
Yeah, I'm feeling the show. I'm excited for the men's War Games match. To me, that is going to be epic. I mean, it could be the best War Games match in WWE history, maybe best War Games match of all time. I'm really stoked for this one. Let's throw it over now to the Renegade, JJ Williams. JJ, your thoughts on Survivor Series? I know you've seen a lot of them. How are you feeling about this show? Only 3 matches, but with what it is right now, how stoked are you for this card?
Honestly, I'm not as excited for it as I thought I would be. Like, I think the fact that only 3 matches have been announced has really kind of brought the excitement level down. And then the fact that one of the people that I was really looking forward to seeing try to establish herself and make a showing in the women's War Games match is the one that got laid out on the hood of a vehicle on Friday night. So, that kind of took me down a couple pegs as well. If I had to put it on a number scale, I'd say I'm probably about a 6 or a 7 at this point. But I do feel that come Raw on Monday, we'll get another match or 2 thrown into this that'll hopefully bring my excitement up at least a little bit.
I'm hoping that they will add a traditional Survivor Series match. That is what I want. Just, you could do 4 matches. Add a traditional Survivor Series match and give us just 4 matches. I agree with Mr. Tito. Less is more. We don't need 6 or 7 matches on this card. We got the simple man, Noah Foster, who's wearing a very interesting suit. Reminds me of what Paul Heyman was wearing, and Paul Heyman's outfit was very similar to Solo Sikoa's, which could be interesting for Survivor Series. Noah, how are you feeling about this card?
Hey, good to see you, Aaron, everybody. Welcome back. Good to be back. Good to be back. Good to see another guys, another fan once again. I'm feeling very interested to echo Jeff's sentiment. That men's Survivor Series WarGames has every potential to be the best and most polarizing and unique WarGames match in WWE history. Not to mention the fact that, there's only 3 matches, but I also look at the feud with Final Testament and the Wyatt Six. Maybe that could be the traditional Survivor Series match, although I think the women should be the traditional Survivor Series match, but that's a whole different conversation. But overall, because of all the different ties, dynamics, and the what if, the cause, the effects that come out of the men's WarGames match alone, I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10 because this match alone could literally set the entire main event picture, in my opinion, of WrestleMania season, at least across 3 matches already figured in my head. So I'm looking very forward to it. It's good to be back with y'all once again, and what's also the conclusion of this year's WWE PLE Predictions League. So good luck, everybody.
Well, I'm officially out of the running, but best of luck to you, Noah. I know you and Sun Goshuaku are neck and neck. It's going to be a tight race between the two of you, and I hope you get it, Noah, because you've put in a lot of work with the Predictions League. I'd like to see you win the Predictions League this year.
I'm just happy to participate, but I appreciate that.
Well, thank you, Noah. And chat room, let me know your thoughts. We'll post some of the comments up on the screen. Let us know what you think, how excited you are for the show. Matthew brought up the idea of maybe the Wyatt Six versus Final Testament in a traditional Survivor Series match. Make it 4 matches with the traditional match. Let's throw it over to Gino, Mr. Reliable Jr. How are you feeling about this show, Gino?
Yeah, thanks again for having me back. I'm excited to do this. So it's really hard for something to be like a 10 out of 10 excitement for me. Like it would really have to be like a 2-night type of show, bare minimum, reserved for like a WrestleMania, something like that. You've got something to really look forward to the whole weekend. Now with this, I'm not as excited, like kind of like JJ said, and like you said, as I thought I would be. The excitement kind of peaked at that SmackDown with the return of Paul Heyman and the CM Punk edition. So that's the match I'm looking forward to, and that would be in and of itself as a match a 10 out of 10 excitement, which then brings my pay-per-view premium live event excitement to about a 6 out of 10, just because the other matches are not, and there's only 2 others that we know about, and right now that's not enough to get my excitement level past that.
Fair enough. Well, we got this guy with us once again. This guy is back on the panel tonight. This guy, great to have you on. This guy, how are you feeling about the show?
Well, for one, I went back to my original name. It reset everything, so I couldn't put the whole this guy experience. But anyway, I'm similar, and I'm at a 7. Yeah, kind of the same. Everything's not fully there. Unfortunately, one match is where I'm at a 7-4, which is obviously going to be the main event, Bloodline versus Bloodline. And just the last 2 years that they've been doing the WarGames, including the Bloodline, is the reason why I'm like pretty stoked about it. But yeah, just ready to talk about these matches, and hopefully they do add some more. One of the matches I do hope they actually come up with this coming week would be the U.S. Belt being defended some kind of way, because if you're going to introduce another U.S. title on the women's division, you need to showcase the original U.S. title in the first place on a pay-per-view, because the last, since Triple H, even before Triple H took over, the U.S. title has not really been the bright light on pay-per-views. So
yeah, it's possible they'll throw in LA Knight versus Shinsuke Nakamura on the card. Maybe they'll throw in an IC title match with Braun Breaker. Maybe they'll do the traditional match. I think they should just do the traditional match, but that's me. I'm going with an 8, but I'll tell you what. If they add a traditional Survivor Series match like Final Testament versus Wyatt Six, I might go a 9. The addition of a traditional Survivor Series match would boost up my excitement. Nakamura and LA Knight, whatever. I mean, yeah, I'd like to see the title defended, but I kind of would like a traditional Survivor Series match. But we'll talk about. Oh yeah, JJ.
I would say save LA Knight versus Nakamura for the Saturday night's main event.
Yeah.
Give it something to really kind of make that card pop. And is anybody else dumbfounded at the fact that the company that Noah has the least passion for is the one he's dominating in the league? Like, can we just take a moment and revel in the fact that he's doing so well in the company he has the least passion for?
I mean, least is a small
well, he
bar
studies the
set.
numbers.
That's right. He's a numbers man.
Yeah, he's always looking at the numbers, and he knows the patterns, and he knows his stuff. All right, this guy.
One more thing, I did forget to say that. Speaking of Noah, it's very interesting. Like, you outdone Chris Jericho because he created the Money in the Bank ladder match, never won it at all, and you more or less created the predictions league, and you are this close to winning it. So you're going to beat Chris Jericho in something.
He is the learning tree.
We'll see.
We'll see. All right, guys. Well, we only have 3 matches, but we will have some bonus points to try and make it more interesting for the predictions. And make sure you guys follow Noah on social media and Foster1916 on Twitter /X, the Twix, as Jeff likes to say. So yeah, follow Noah and make sure you participate for 2025. Let's get to the card. 3 matches. The first one we will talk about is the women's WarGames match. We got there it is. We got Liv Morgan's team going up against Rhea Ripley's team. So it's Liv Morgan, Nia Jax, Tiffany Stratton, Raquel, and Candice LeRae against Rhea Ripley, Bianca Belair, Io Sky, Naomi, and not Jade Cargill, because Jade Cargill was injured in storyline, but she is reportedly dealing with a legitimate injury. So WWE came up with this angle. She was taken out of the United States title tournament, and she's also out of Survivor Series. Now, we do know the final person. We do not know who will have the advantage because I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, they're doing that match on Raw. So we're not going to know until then who will have the advantage, which could affect the prediction. We might have to make some tweaks to our predictions later on, but we can make a guess and give it our best shot here. Now, as I mentioned earlier, we are talking spoilers. We do know who the 5th woman is for Rhea Ripley's team. So if you do not want to be spoiled, you may want to shut off the video now, come back to it at a later time. The 5th person, last chance, is Bayley. Bayley is the 5th member of the women's WarGames match. They did that angle on SmackDown, and there's the whole tease like maybe Bayley was behind the attack, like Liv Morgan's team tried to create some dissension. But yeah, Bayley is the 5th member. So does that change anybody's opinion? I tend to believe that whatever the finish was going to be, they had already come up with before Jade Cargill got hurt. So I'm going with that, but I want to hear everybody else's thoughts, best educated guesses. Now, as part of this, and by the way, I don't think it's Bianca because Bianca screwed herself out of the singles championship opportunity, which would be really dumb to fake the attack for that. So I think that would not make sense, but that's just me. I don't know if they're going to vacate the titles. They might. I mean, the report is that she might be out for 3 months or more. So, yeah, it could very well happen. But for this predictions video, we are going to not only predict the winners, but also we're going to predict which 2 women will start the match. So this guy I'm going to throw it over to you first and get your thoughts on this match. I'll let you kick us off here. How are you feeling about it with Bayley? Do you think the Jade Cargill storyline is going to play into it? Do you think there'll be a cash-in? And by the way, that's another bonus point. We say it every pay-per-view or premium live event. Will there be a cash-in successfully, meaning Tiffany actually cashes it in and it counts? Win or lose, it counts. So predict that.
I was shaking his
Which
head
two
like,
are starting the match and overall thoughts. This guy, go ahead.
All right. Well, I'll say my overall hype for this match is pretty low. I've been the last several weeks you've been saying it should be a traditional match, and I agree. The last couple of times we've had the female WarGames match, I would say it amounted to needing to be in those cages. This year, it's oh yeah, we that anniversary thing we do every year is coming up. Yeah, just put them in there. So I'm I don't really care that much about this one. As for cash in, no. At this point in time, I believe that they're going to hold that, or she's going to hold that briefcase until 2025, sometime 2025, and cash in successfully. Who's going to win? I think it's just going to be a repeat of last year. The Hills won last year, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Wrong.
Was it? The Faces won?
Yep, Bayley sacrificed herself in the end.
Oh, yes, I forgot about that. Okay, so this time it's going to be inverse. Bayley's not going to be on the winning side. She's going to lose because obviously we know the good bloodline has to prevail, so they're not going to have two heel teams win back-to-back or whenever they are lined up on the card. So obviously the female Hills will have to win this. They have and on top of that, logically speaking, they have the stronger team. You have two of the women's champions on that one team. You have a few former women's champion on that team, but again, they're former for a reason. They're not the dominant champions right now. So I'm going to go with I guess Team Liv. How do I combine the name? Liv Jax. I'm just going to go with Team Liv Jax.
That sounds like a Wish.com version of X-Lax.
It's how I feel whenever Liv is on my television screen.
Whoa. All right. Well, JJ,
Check, please.
with that being said,
I'm done.
let's get your thoughts, JJ, about Liv Morgan and her team.
You don't want my thoughts about Liv Morgan because this will have to be a heavily censored episode of the No DQ predictions, and I'm not trying to get you booted off of YouTube, boss. I'm eternally thankful and grateful I have been allowed to become part of this family. I'm not trying to get you banned like Meacham was for 3 months. But I got to agree with this guy experience. I think the heels are going to win here, but the question is how are the heels going to win, I think? I think the heels are going to win because the person who attacked Jade is on the babyface team and is going to reveal themselves. And I think the person that attacked Jade is Naomi.
I agree with you.
For those of y'all that may be scratching your head about it, think about it. She's essentially the third wheel of the big three. She's been cast to the sidelines while Bianca and Jade have gone on this monumental run. And then when Bianca and Jade went down to NXT, they basically substituted her with Kaylani Jordan. Naomi's been kind of shuffled around and had a piss poor year ever since she returned at the Rumble, the exact same event where Jade debuted, mind you. And Jade has had this stellar run for the better part of this year. Then you factor in the fact that Bayley has to try to work with Io, who turned on her last year. Bianca doesn't trust Bayley. There's too much turmoil on the babyface side for them to be able to work as a cohesive unit. Do I think there will be a successful cash-in? No, I don't. Again, I agree with this guy. Although this would definitely be an opportune moment for her to do it, considering both women are going to be in the ring on her team, I just don't see it happening. I still think the long-term end game for the women is to finally have that Seth Rollins heist of the century moment and let Tiffy time come to fruition in Vegas at Mania. The other bonus point that I don't think this guy answered was who's going to start, correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay, so this guy, do you want to answer that one first since you forgot to, or do you want me to go ahead and then we'll throw it back to you?
Oh yeah, I can do it real quick. I think Team Cap, so Bianca in this case, and I want it to start off with Liv, Team Cap versus Team Cap, but the smart money would be Stratton versus Bianca to start the match off. That's how I think it's going to go.
Okay, and I think Bianca is going to be one of the two, but I'm going for Raquel to be the heel side to start off. I just want to see that match of strength and power for a good 5 minutes or whatever it's going to be before we get our next entry.
All right. Well, that is a solid pick there, JJ. I do agree with you about Naomi. I think she's going to be the one. I think that's a good opportunity to turn her heel. The whole Naomi. I'm not really feeling that too much. I feel like it's not a great theme song. It's just Def Rebel at their worst. I miss the old theme song, the I'm Amazing. That was a great song. Not this one so much. But anyways, I don't think it's going to happen on this show, though. Like I said earlier, I feel like they already decided who was winning this match before Jade Cargill got hurt. Could they pivot? Sure. But my prediction is for two reasons. Rhea Ripley's team. Number one, Rhea Ripley's on the team. You want to build her up. She's your top star. Number two, Candice LeRae's on the team. I hate to say it, but Candice is the one that I think is going to take the L in this one. She'll be the one that gets pinned. She's the weak link of the 10. I really hate to say that because I like Candice. Think she's being underutilized. But yeah, she's going to be the one that takes the fall. And I think it'll end up being a really good match. Cash in, no, just because there's too much chaos, there's too many people there, and it's distracting. I don't think it's going to happen on this show, so I'm saying no to the cash in. And as far as who starts the match, JJ, you did say Raquel and Bianca. That's what I'm going with too. I agree with you on that one. I'm going to go with that, steal that from you. And on that note, we'll throw it over to good old JM, Jeff Meacham.
It's funny you steal JJ's prediction, considering how much he dislikes Candice LeRae. And the Candice Liv thing is definitely neck and neck, I think, for JJ at this point. But I could be wrong there, brother. So forgive me if I'm wrong there. A lot of different reasons for this. But for me, I agree also that Bianca and Raquel will start only because you want to have that strong 5-minute start. And with WarGames, it was always Arn and Dusty or Arn and somebody, because you have that 5 minutes of just great action between the two teams to start off WarGames. So I think we're going to see the same thing here. So when we're talking about eating the pin, are we talking about who's going to eat the final fall?
Yeah, but
like
we're not doing a bonus point on that one. We're just doing the bonus points on who's starting the match and if Tiffany's cashing in.
Okay, so yeah, I definitely think Raquel and Bianca are starting, and I definitely don't think Tiffany's going to even attempt to cash in. I really think the idea of her in Vegas is just too good to pass up. The whole, as JJ mentioned, the Heist of the Century thing just works. It's Vegas, it's glitz, it's glamour, it's her town. So make it happen there as far as the cash in. As far as the win, I disagree with this guy in that the baby faces are going to win because the baby faces are going to lose because the heels are going to win. I'm sorry, I'm working around. I think the babyface team's going to win here. Aaron mentioned, Rhea's got to get pushed back up and get, put back in the spotlight. And I don't think the babyface is going to win the men's WarGames personally. And we'll talk about that later. I really don't think it's going to happen.
Well, I'm excited to talk about the main event.
Yes.
I'm ready to just move to that, but we still got more to predict here. Noah
Yes.
Foster, Simple Man. Simply put, what are your predictions?
This should have been traditional Survivor Series. I'm just going to say it right now. They need to bring that concept back. That being said, no cash in. Definitely Team Rhea because they have no competition for Liv Morgan on Raw. They are the biggest star. So Team Rhea has to win. And quite emphatically, she's been a Survivor Series MVP. I think she's won each WarGames match she's been in. And if we do get the betrayal, Team Rhea is not, unaware of that because the time before when she was in NXT when Dakota betrayed Tegan Knox and Team Rhea still won from a handicap. I think we're going to get a similar situation with Naomi being exposed. I don't think Jade's going to show up, though. I think Naomi's going to leave her team high and dry, and Raquel's going to fight back for underneath like before, but without handcuffs. Team Rhea for the win. Bianca and Raquel's a good 5-minute power bout start, but I wonder if you start with power or experience because Io Sky Prize is the most experience amongst this field in the WarGames situation. And also, I believe she's a challenger for Liv Morgan's Women's Heavyweight Championship. So while Raquel's the strongest star, I think Io is next to challenge Liv regardless of results. So I'm actually going with Io to start off for her team. And as far as the opposite team, because of history and because you're already calling it a fault person, give her some moment of glory. I'm going to go with Io and Candice starting things off respectfully. But Team Rhea for that.
They got their history. And guys, keep in mind, Noah is second place right now in the predictions league, one behind Sun Goshuaku. So when Noah makes a prediction, he knows what he's talking about. And Gino, I hope you've been taking notes on what Noah said because Noah has the track record. What are your thoughts?
Yeah. So it's funny. I had two names written down for the heel team who was going to start. It would be Tiffany or Candice. And I think that I've decided it's going to be Tiffany versus Io. I thought maybe you do Candice, but it feels like Tiffany, yes, she's still got her Tiffy time. She's got her Money in the Bank briefcase, but she could use a really good, strong showing because all of her matches, as is tradition with the Money in the Bank holder, she's been losing. She doesn't really have a memorable moment since like the almost Elimination Chamber back in, what was it, April or March. So I feel like this would be a good way to remind people of how good she is to go ahead and wrestle somebody that she doesn't get to mix it up with a lot. That's the whole appeal to the Survivor Series stuff for me, is seeing people go at it that wouldn't or don't have the opportunity to. So I'm going to go with Tiffany and Io. No cash in. Vegas, cash in, Money in the Bank. It just feels like right. So I'm with you guys there. And you made a good point, right? You got to make a good showing to start the match. You want great action to start the match, and Io can deliver. And I think that I think that it could be argued that it's been forgotten a little bit what Tiffany can bring to the table athleticism-wise as a former USA gymnast. So that's what we're going to do with that. And I think that it's tailor-made for the faces to win, even though the other team has 2 world champions on it. The kayfabe in me doesn't like to pick against 2 world champions on the same team, but regardless of the build, it's going to be a fun match. But I think the faces go over, and I do think that Candice is tailor-made to take that pin. So that's what we're going with.
All right. Thank you for that, Gino. JJ, anything you would like to add?
I did have a question because you mentioned that you don't think that Naomi's going to reveal herself here, that it may be a little bit further down the road. If that is the case, do you think that they maybe implement the Freebird rule here with Jade being injured and Bianca and Naomi become tag team champions because she is part of the big 3? That way you can kind of bring the trust in a little bit more before the final reveal, and then maybe have them lose the belts at Saturday Night Main Event or the first Raw of the Netflix era and do the big switch there.
That's a solid idea. I like that. I could see them doing that too. All right, guys, let's move on to the next match on the card. We got the Ring General, Gunther. Noah, you got to do this intro. What is this match we got?
Wow, put me on the spot. But all right. Well, I mean, that being said, I'm just going to simply ask, ladies and gentlemen, I demand all your gratitude for your reigning World Heavyweight Champion, the Ring General, Gunther.
Versus Damian Priest.
Exactly.
Thank you for that, Noah.
Yeah, what do you think? Yeah.
Much appreciated. That was great. Let me just throw this out here. SummerSlam was a very good match with those two. So I don't mind them running it back. And I thought it was going to be CM Punk versus Gunther, but obviously CM Punk has a different role for Survivor Series. I'm fine with the match, but let's be real here. It's filler. Gunther's not losing that title before WrestleMania, whether it's him versus John Cena or versus Bill Goldberg. They're setting up Gunther for bigger world championship matches. So Priest ain't winning the title. I don't have much to say about it. It'll be a really good match, but champ's retaining, and I got nothing else on this one. So Gino, I'm going to throw it over to you. Maybe you have more to say about it. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I want to pick up what you were talking about, SummerSlam match. Going into that premium live event match, everybody was like, is this a big enough match, right? Like, is Damian Priest versus Gunther, even if it's for the title, is it big enough box office wise? And since then, Damian Priest has been elevated to another level. Am I ready to say pure main event scene? No. Very, very upper mid card to lower main event scene, yes. He's made a believer out of me. I now enjoy seeing him on my television. It might be because he got rid of his eyeliner, but he definitely has all the tools. That being said, Gunther's going to win this match despite Priest's need for momentum. Gunther already lost that champion versus champion match in Saudi. He shouldn't be losing again until Mania night 2 at the very earliest. So, but we'll see what happens with other world title matches and opponents if they're going to take the title off of him to set up another match at WrestleMania. I don't think that's necessary, but I think Gunther's going to go over. A lot of chops. I see interference potentially, but they're going to try to overbook this maybe to bring up some excitement. But at the end of the day, it's Priest really has no male friends, so there's really no assistance he's going to have if there is interference. So it's unless they pay off something with Gunther and Ludwig Kaiser's little dissension for talking for him and stuff like that, I just see it going pretty straightforward. Gunther retains.
Now, well said, Gino. I agree with you on all that, but I'm going to throw out a scenario. I know Jeff is going to hate this. So, Jeff, you're going to be next because I want your direct response. What if they throw a curveball at us? What if Bill Goldberg pulls a No Way Out 2004 and costs Gunther the championship? Priest wins the title, and then they set up Gunther versus Bill Goldberg, no title on the line, but they do that match. Jeff, I know you hate that idea. I just wanted to hear your response to it. I don't think it's going to happen.
So, okay, well, good, because I hope it doesn't either, because you will hear my scream of fury from the Staples Center if it does, because I'll be there. I'll be knocking it during Survivor Series. Oh, God, what a horrid thought, though. Oh, my God. That's the only way this match doesn't remain filler, and that's sad to say, because I like Gunther, and I've liked Damian Priest from the beginning. My dad called him as the next guy when he had his when he joined up with Edge at WrestleMania. Even before that, he was calling Priest as the next guy. So I just would hate to think that he and Gunther are both reduced to the latest Goldberg fodder. God, I'm gonna throw up. I swear to God. It's other than that, I can't see Gunther losing until Mania either. I don't think he needed to lose at Crown Jewel. Like, I think it would have been okay for both heels to be I mean, there's a heel either way in the women's match, so I think it would have been okay for both Crown Jewel champions to be heels to start it off. I don't understand why that was a thing, but he shouldn't be losing before WrestleMania. Not even to the great and powerful Bill Goldberg.
All right, thank you, Jeff. JJ, we'll throw it over to you next. Do you agree with Jeff Meacham, or do you see another potential scenario for this match? What do you think is going to happen?
Gunther wins next.
All right, there you go. Short and sweet. Noah, you look like Ludwig Kaiser over there. What do you think is going to happen?
I think if nothing else, we're going to see a different character dynamic tested out the ring in a row. And honestly, that's why this match was made. Plus, they wanted to give Damian Priest that one-on-one integral shot to prove his worth against the World Heavyweight Champion. He's playing the best of Damian Priest versus Gunther at SummerSlam. So it's a story angle. So we're going to see both these men wrestle it out, but the result remains the same. For no one can beat the Ling General when you test him where he holds the sport most sacred. Loser retains.
Thank you, Noah. And now this guy will wrap it up with you, and then we'll get to our main event that everybody's been waiting for. So go ahead.
Oh man, this is a tough one, man. I don't know. Playing obviously, we already know. Unfortunately, my man Priest is taking the L. I feel really bad. He had a pretty good year. But yeah, they're building Gunther as being the next guy. I mean, he is the guy, but like once you defeat Cody Stanley or John Cena 2.0, whatever you want to call him, he's the guy. And that's not a dig at Cody at all. I'm just saying, like, as long as Cody continues his momentum, holds the belt for a long period of time, loses it, get it back, whatever, he will be the next John Cena. Fortunately, Roman was going down that path, and then unfortunately, COVID happened and stuff like that. So he's down a Stone Cold, Randy Orton, whatever as kind of career. So we don't want to be like, oh god, he wins the title again. But yeah, Gunther, and I'm glad he's the world champion. I just feel sorry for Damian Priest. I mean, it's obvious. Like anybody, it's crazy if you bet against this match. Like, I mean, don't bet against Cena, don't bet against Roman. But if you bet against like Gunther in this match, and your head needs to be examined. Like it's so obvious.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. I think this match is very predictable, but again, should be a really good match. Now, the next match may not be as predictable. I'm very curious to get everyone's thoughts on this one. So we got the men's WarGames match. This is what's selling the show. This is the main event. This is Survivor Series WarGames 2024. We got the new bloodline with Solo Sikoa at the helm. Solo Sikoa, Jacob Fatu, Tama Tonga Loa, and big Bronson Reed going up against the old G bloodline plus CM Punk. We got Roman Reigns, Jey Uso, Jimmy Uso, and the honorary Us, Sami Zayn. So Noah, I want to start with you on this one because you have that suit that you're wearing. Paul Heyman came back. And for people that say it doesn't make sense, what's the story? Paul Heyman managed CM Punk when CM Punk was the WWE champion. Paul Heyman is the fifth member of the bloodline. So CM Punk is Paul Heyman's guy. CM Punk says he's a Paul Heyman guy. So CM Punk is representing Paul Heyman in the bloodline at the pay-per-view. That's the story. And I think it's great. I think I would have liked 4 versus 4, but you add CM Punk to the mix. Hey, Scott Steiner math, it adds up. I'm more intrigued by it. Bronson Reed getting a big push. He appears to be part of the bloodline. Maybe this isn't just a one-off. Maybe he's actually going to be part of the group. But people are wondering now, what is up with Paul Heyman? We're going to start with you, Noah. You wore that suit for a reason. So tell us what you think. And, of course, who you think will be the number one entrance in the match to start us off. And go ahead. The floor is yours.
Ah, geez. Good grief almighty. This might be the toughest match this year in WWE to figure out, considering how many different cause effects there can be. Well, I mean, you think about, again, what I've been saying about the bloodline since inception. Who's been guiding the narrative? Paul Heyman. When it comes to Paul Heyman, he knows who to put his business into. He's the devil that you don't know whether to trust or whether that's going to betray you. The greatest trick the devil ever did was knowing that he was right in front, and no one ever figured that out. It's one of those things right now where last year the bloodline did win. And well, actually, no, I take that back. They actually didn't win last year because, of course, we had that opposing team. I'm a little torn because I don't know who's going to betray who. There's going to be an angle out of this, and it's going to lead into our WrestleMania program. CM Punk 1 year later in Survivor Series WarGames, when he returned, fighting alongside the very man that he used to work with when he first came in, when he was part of the Shield. Believe that. You know, on a money deal with Paul Heyman. And then you have basically who you think was going to be maybe the next Paul Heyman guy in Solo Sikoa, when again Roman made Solo his right hand man. Now Solo's taking the bloodline hostage for himself, including the Fala and the rightful role as tribal chief. Then you got Sami Zayn, where Kevin Owens right now feels justified in his actions, saying everything that's happening is Cody's fault. But Sami's the guy that basically is the one that brought new life into the bloodline. And now we have the Usos back together and the honorary Us. And then you got CM Punk, the only one that didn't acknowledge the family. He did his own thing. I think Paul Heyman's going to dictate the result, but I also think, again, there's a reason why he was in the exact same, similar attire. I don't think they're both weekend fans. I think at the end of the day, the end game has to be Roman Reigns versus Solo Sikoa, which we have not gotten yet. And that's going to define the next legacy of the bloodline. In order for that to continue so everyone else can say something, I'm going to say right now, Bootleg Bloodline wins. I think Bootleg Bloodline is going to come out with the win here based on an angle caused by Paul Heyman. I think there's a reason that he wasn't in Roman Reigns' contacts 2 weeks ago. And it's not the first time that Paul Heyman has betrayed a client and gone back to them. For all we know, Paul Heyman's playing Solo Sikoa like a fiddle, and we're just looking at the next angle. But I'm going with Bootleg Bloodline for the win to continue this narrative that Roman Reigns can't oppose right now, this new on relevancy. As far as who starts, that's the other interesting thing here, because there's a lot of unique dynamics considering Tama Tonga, Tonga Loa, and Jacob Fatu, and Bronson Reed for that matter, have never been involved in WarGames. I think Jacob Fatu is going to wreck shop and could possibly break the structure. I can't wait for him to be unleashed. But I don't think you start with him. I think Solo dictates who starts. And I'm going to say that Tama Tonga and Jey Uso kicks things off. But I'm going with Bootleg Bloodline for the win.
Good picks there, Noah, and I'll give mine later. I'm going to throw it over now to the Renegade with his thoughts on this match. Go ahead, JJ.
It's interesting because I agree with Noah as far as who's going to start. I think it's going to be Jey Uso and Tama Tonga. You know, Jey Uso started out when the bloodline was in 2 years ago. So I think they're going to repeat history here when it comes to that. Plus, main event Jey Uso, man, you got to keep that momentum going that he's built since leaving the bloodline originally. Although I think, I'm really torn about if the OGs are going to get this or if it's going to be the bootleg bloodline, the Timu bloodline, the Wish bloodline, whatever you want to call them. Because a heel turn costing the bloodline the match here, the OGs, makes sense. But I also think, again, kind of like how we were talking with the women's bloodline or the women's WarGames match, the false sense of security, I think, makes it a little bit more effective as well. You know, we've got Saturday night's main event and the first Raw from the Netflix era from the Intuit Dome in LA coming up, and a heel turn deception from either of those shows is just as monumental. You know, let the OGs think that everything is back on the right track, on the rails with Paul Heyman with them, and then you get the Sami Zayn turn or the Paul Heyman turn at Saturday night's main event or at the first Raw on Netflix. You know, solidifying things. For right now, I'm going to say the OGs pull it out, but we've got a week to change our picks, and I definitely reserve my right to change, but I'm going to go against my wise man here, the man who's dominating the poll that he has the least passion in. And I'm going with the OGs. I acknowledge Roman and the OG bloodline.
Hard to bet against Roman. Now, one name we haven't really talked about much here is The Rock. Is there any possibility The Rock shows up and reveals himself? This guy, I'm going to throw it over to you and get your thoughts. This guy, go ahead.
All right, and this time I'm actually being serious. Like, this is a really tough one to call. Just in like you said, the Rock at the end. That's the reason why it's like a kind of a toss up. Like, I know earlier I said obviously the heel female team needs to win, so the babyface male's team needs to win. Noah kind of shook me when he gave his reason earlier, and I'm like, man, that kind of throws me off now. Because we have to. It's not. Was it next Saturday or this coming Saturday that we have to like worry about? It's afterwards, after the aftermath. If the faces win, like where do you go from there? Like, oh, we've proven ourselves because was it Roman and was Jade or no Roman and Cody? They beat half of the bloodline like a few months ago. And if they win again, it's like, oh, well, at this point in time, we are better than you. Disband. You don't need to be around. So in that kind of scenario, I'm like, yeah, Noah's right. They should, the Hills should win in this situation. Yeah, it's, oh man. I was confident. Gosh. Dang. And if The Rock, okay, and on top of that, yeah, Paul Heyman, how many times, like, since I've been alive watching WWF/WWE, have he backstabbed someone from Brock to Big Show? I really wish they would have pulled the trigger back in like 2008, 2019 when he had an interview and he said, well, maybe there's another way, or maybe there's another when he was Brock versus Roman back then. That they should have pulled the trigger back then, but whatever. Like we have so many times, but it's late in Paul's years. I doubt he's going to backstab at this point in time. So that's not even on the table. It's just like I said, after Saturday, what's going to happen? Because if The Rock is either there or not even there, we still have to get to WrestleMania, which is in like 3 months from now, 3-4 months from now. So I'm gonna. All right, I'm going to change my pick. I am going to change. I'm sorry, guys. I'm going to change my pick for the men's. I'm going to go with. I'm going to go with the Hills. I'm sorry. We have to keep the story going. 2025 may be the last year of the Bloodline, so I'm thinking that Noah's right. I'm sorry. No, you're right.
Peer pressure.
No, because I'm just like it just makes more sense. Like we can't like you just pure logic. Roman has shown his dominance on multiple occasions versus the bootleg. I don't think they're bootleg. They're pretty good. New bloodline, the new blood. But storyline wise, you like once he shows that dominance again, it's like why do I care? Like I said this a couple months ago. Like, hey, they've beaten them. They only got the upper hand once against Roman, and it was like after match beat down. Like that doesn't really count for the credibility. So yeah, new age bloodline that must win this match. Yeah, I'm going with that.
All right. Well, Gino, I'm going to throw it over to you now. People going with the new bloodline. What do you think?
I love how split this is, by the way. He also got his starters, but let Gino go ahead and we'll get his starters again. Go ahead, Gino.
Yeah. So I like to follow as many of the patterns as I can when I'm trying to make these predictions. I don't know if that's the Noah methodology, so I'm probably wrong in this scenario, but I picked the faces to win the other WarGames match because I think that makes sense. So I think that the heels are going to win that almost by default, just due to that. Now, to dive into it, I think that there's going to be interference. I do not think it's going to be The Rock. I think it's going to be an angry Seth Rollins. And I think he's going to cost the good guys the match, which could even lead to a CM Punk maybe taking the pin, but I don't think that's going to happen. I see it being like Sami taking the pin. And people, Jimmy, yeah, he's had his outside the ring issues, but he really deserves to come out of this looking strong. Sammy's the ultimate underdog. He can take a loss. I believe he's going to start the match against Jacob Fatu. Again, we talked about needing have a strong showing to start the match. Jacob Fatu. I mean, if you got can only have so many super kicks, right? So you don't want to start the match with two people who are going to super kick each other for the majority of their match. Yes, I like the comment there. But so I think you have Sami who's got his own move set against Jacob Fatu. You don't really get them matched up against each other. So we're going to go ahead and predict that that's going to be. You don't start with the Tongans, in my opinion. They haven't really shown much of an ability to carry a 1v1 scenario, right? So I think that you only introduce them once there's other people into the match. They have the advantage. So I do see one of the first people coming out after the match has started would be a Tongan. I want to make a point that on the No DQ review number 310, I made mention of CM Punk being the possible fifth member because of the Paul Heyman connection. So I was pretty proud of myself for when that one came to fruition.
Nice job.
Going back to the Seth interference, one of these guys needs to be a heel kind of going into Mania. So we could either have, Seth cost them the match. That sets up a heel turn for him, even though I think Punk should be the heel going into this, because a lot of it's going to be predicated on the crap he was talking about WWE and how it upset Seth and how WWE is Seth's home, because we saw that that's kind of where they were going to take that storyline last year until Punk got hurt. So a lot of you guys, and I've seen people thinking that, Paul Heyman's going to use Punk to turn on Roman for not having his back or leaving him high and dry. Or you could have The Rock pulling the strings behind Heyman, behind this Punk thing, but I know that Punk wouldn't really do what The Rock would say because they have their own history. So there's a lot of moving parts here that makes it really exciting. All in all, New Bloodline's taking the L. Or no, the New Bloodline, sorry. The New Bloodline is winning. The OG Bloodline's taking the L. Sami versus Jacob is starting. And there's definitely not going to be any Rock on the show. For no other reason than he was spotted on set of Moana, the live action in Hawaii. It's an almost 6-hour flight to Vancouver. So it's doable. But with all the heat that The Rock has had for his behavior on movie sets lately and his punctuality and stuff, I just honestly, real life might get in the way of this, and I don't see The Rock showing up. So that's where I'm at with that.
All right, thank you for that. And I guess I'm going to have to be the one person that says you don't bet against Roman Reigns, especially after he lost at Crown Jewel and got pinned. It's not happening 2 pay-per-views in a row. I don't think Paul Heyman is turning heel because nobody wants to boo Paul Heyman at this stage of the game. He's a beloved senior citizen. There's no need to turn Paul Heyman heel. Plus, if you're doing The Rock versus Roman Reigns, you got to have The Rock and Paul Heyman in a promo battle. Like, we need that. And you can't have that if Paul Heyman's a heel. So I don't think Paul Heyman's turning heel. Sami Zayn is beloved. There's no good reason to turn him heel. He's probably going to be back on Raw doing his own thing. I don't think Sami Zayn is turning heel. I think everyone is overthinking this too much. I don't think The Rock is showing up. He's not showing up till Netflix at the earliest, if he's even showing up for WrestleMania season. So I think it's going to be pretty straightforward. I think it's going to be a battle. It's going to be a war. It's WarGames. But in the end, Bloodline is going to win. OG Bloodline is going to win. And then Solo will still be at Roman Reigns because Roman Reigns will still need that Ula Fala. So they'll do Roman Reigns versus Solo at Saturday night's main event, or they'll do it on the Raw Netflix debut, somewhere around there. They'll do the match for the Ula Fala, and maybe that's when The Rock will show up and he'll make his presence known. As far as who starts the match, I think it's going to be Tama Tonga and Jey Uso. I'm going with that. And, I think it's going to be pretty straightforward here. Good guys win. Punk will do his part. Everybody will do their part, and they're going to win. I don't see any big swerve or anything. I think Roman Reigns' team wins, and they're going to shoot the heavy angles once the move is with Netflix. Because you got a dead period here in December. You only got Saturday night's main event and then you got the Christmas break. I think they're going to wait closer to the Royal Rumble before they start doing it like a major angle to set up WrestleMania. So leaving it at that, I think OG Bloodline wins. I may be the only person, which is I'm kind of shocked. Go ahead, this guy. You're changing your pick. Go ahead.
No, no. I'm just gonna. I forgot to say who's going first. So I actually think Zayn, Sami, he's gonna go first, and then on like one of the Tongas. I'm not. They're interchangeable, no offense. So I think it's just gonna be a decent. And yeah, and that's what I'm saying. They need to showcase their abilities. I think it's gonna start off with Sami, then one of the two Tongas, and then the next person is gonna be the other Tonga. I don't know who's gonna be the person on the good bloodline side after that, but they need to be built up better because they're every time a new person comes into the new bloodline, they get further and further pushed back. I mean, Bronson Reed's not even with the bloodline officially, and I'm like, who are those two guys? Even when you like Aaron, if you could put the thumbnail back up, they just like literally look like they are just yeah. I forgot I guess the older Tonga, he's just smiling off in the distance. Like, what are you smiling about? There's nothing to be like happy about. Like everyone else on your team is like serious, like I'm gonna beat somebody's butt, but he's like, yeah, like cheesing so hard. Even his brother's like, yeah, we gotta fight. And I'm like, guys, come on, man. Just like Triple H, please build. I don't really care about them, and that's the reason why I want the Tongas to start the match on Saturday.
You know, they're just happy to get a premium live event match. This may be their only one that they ever get, so they're kind of happy to be in that spot. Maybe they had one a couple months ago. They did have a couple. So yeah, we got a $5 super chat here from the Learning Sicko, Dr. Bropio. Says, let's say Seth Rollins turns heel during his feud with CM Punk and Roman Reigns. Would he really be a heel or be more of a justified heel like Kevin Owens in a way, or a tweener? I mean, that's a very solid point. I actually don't think we're going to get a full-blown turn. I think it's going to be let the fans decide who they want to cheer for, who they want to boo for. I just feel like that's going to be how it plays out. You decide who you want to root for in that match. Gino, did you want to add something to that?
Yeah, just as far as the term, a justified heel. Right. At this point, Rollins did this to himself. He said he doesn't want a part in it. For him to just be butthurt that CM Punk is helping Roman Reigns to then come out and do that, like that's there's no justification behind that. That's just you being salty and sour grapes and you coming out there to mess with something that literally you could have gotten CM Punk on his own after the match. You know what I'm saying? So if he does it during the match, that's very textbook just a heel behavior.
I mean, if he goes after Bronson Reed, considering his beef with Bronson Reed and their feud, then I could see, again, Seth Rollins trying to justify himself. Because as far as Seth's concerned, I don't think him and Reed are done. And that's kind of taken, premise over the feud with CM Punk. Remember, when he first tried to confront CM Punk, what happened? Bronson Reed tsunami'd him 7 times and put him on injury for a couple weeks.
Still one of the best segments of the year.
Shout out to this guy. He threw in a $2 super chat, so thank you for that. Says, bonus point, how many matches total? Hey, guys. 4. I'm going to say there's going to be 4 total.
Yeah, I'm going to go with 4.
Everybody put up
I'll go with 5 in the spirit of Survivor Series 5-on-5 stuff. So I think
all right, there you go.
5. I mean, they might add 2 more matches. They might add 2 matches on Raw. I mean, that's very much a possibility.
Yeah. So to close us out, we're going to throw it over to keep in mind each WarGames match is going to be like 45 minutes to an hour. So that's about 2 hours right there. And if they do the world title match, that's going to be, probably 20 minutes plus all the video packages. You got your 3 hours right there, maybe one more. But to close us out, we're going to throw it over to the man, the myth, the legend. Too sweet to be sour, funky like a monkey, if you will. Likes to play with kids instead of hanging out with the American dream, Dusty Rhodes. Good old JM, Jeff Meacham, and there's a reference that maybe a handful of people will get, but nonetheless, I threw it out there for everybody.
You introducing Jeff Meacham or Puff Daddy?
Yeah, no kidding. Golly, man. Rough context 2024 with that reference. Anyway,
Yeah,
jeez.
the 22-year-old reference right there to when Jeff Meacham interviewed Dusty Rhodes on an ODQ show called Extreme Mayhem, and he
Yeah.
left the interview because he had to go tutor kids. And Dusty said,
I
"You'd rather play with kids than talk to the
and
American
hang out with the
Dream."
American Dream, if you will. Yeah. Hey, you know what? Hey, Dusty, you want to pay me? I'll stick around. Just saying. This is a paid job. Anyway, and I did do the job. I'm always the one on that. Good Lord, ugh, horrible. Anyway,
Okay, then.
Okay, then. So we're just gonna move right along. Again, there's so many different moving parts in this, and just this match, which is why it should be the main event, which is why it's been the most advertised, the most built. There's more layers to this than any other match on the card. Last night, one of our viewers pointed out that Paul was dressed very much like Paul Bearer did when he returned in 2000, with the whole black with the red trim. I completely forgot about the fact that Paul Bearer returned as a babyface in 2010, and then turned to the Undertaker the following weekend at the pay-per-view at Hell in a Cell. So
Yeah.
People named Paul turning on their clients a week after coming back is not unheard of in WWE. And Paul Heyman turning at Survivor Series is not unheard of in history, right, Big Show?
Well,
So there's a lot of things
Break
that
the
could
walls
happen.
down.
Yeah, there you go. So I stand by my conviction that Sami Zayn is going to be the one to turn, and the heel bloodline is going to continue the storyline by winning the WarGames. I'm not saying Roman's going to eat the fall. I think it'll be Jimmy or Jay, just to further the descent between the cousins once Sami turns. I think Sami's very much in the same boat as Kevin, as far as he was. And by the way, he's no longer honorary; he is a certified Uso. If you go to WWE Shop, so he is full on certified Uso now. Which y'all can buy me that shirt because I was certified Uso before Sami Zayn was. Right, Rikishi? Just saying. Ask Rikishi; he'll tell you. It's a true story. Aaron wasn't there, but it's a true story. You could ask Joni, but she's not here either. So anyway. I think the heels win to keep it going. There's still far more story to tell, and if 2025 is indeed the last year of the bloodline storyline, then we got to get there first. So heels win.
Guess I'm the odd one out, so we'll see what happens at Survivor Series. Oh, JJ.
I picked the faces too, Aaron.
Oh, you did? Okay. All right. Thank goodness.
You did.
I'm not the odd man out.
This guy was one that was swayed.
I just keep hearing new bloodline, new bloodline, new bloodline.
Bootleg bloodline, bootleg bloodline, bootleg bloodline. Say it 3 times. By the way, JJ, you didn't pick your starters, but I'll wait till tomorrow night because, of course, you're not going to further talk about this and super predicting at the Monday Night Raw, which could sway opinions a little bit.
I did say Jey Uso and Tama Tonga because Aaron co-signed with me.
Yes,
did I.
Yeah, I did. I do agree with you on that one for sure.
So people just paying attention to me tonight. Jeez. Like, I think the first 2 are going to help set up the Tongans versus the Usos at Mania.
All right. Real quick, I don't really do this too often, but I do want to bring up the betting odds that we have right now and see if anybody wants to change their picks. So, as of right now, first of all, Gunther is a minus 5,000 favorite. No surprise. Rhea Ripley's team is a 1,500 favorite, minus 1,500 favorite. And Roman Reigns, the OG bloodline, they are a 1,000, minus 1,000 favorite to win. So 4 of you are going against the betting odds, which are pretty strong right now in favor of Roman Reigns. Anybody want to change their picks now that I've said all that information? Yes or no? Anybody?
Oh. You don't bet against Roman Reigns, but I'm just predicting against Roman Reigns at this point, so I think that's where I'm going to leave it.
And a multi-person match protects Roman. Remember, we know that the final boss confronted Roman and Cody. He did the 1, 2, 3. We don't know if we're going to get triple threat or we're going to get, again, cause and effect, 2-night action, WrestleMania storytelling, title or no title. And Roman, again, Solo Sikoa proved his point. He pinned Roman. Roman don't have to be pinned here. You have 4 other people to pick, and that's WarGames. First pinfall to the finish.
But you know what? The fact that we all have different opinions on it makes it very intriguing. There's a lot of different ways it can go. So Survivor Series should be a fun event to watch, especially the main event with all the possibilities. It should be very entertaining. Should be a great crowd in Vancouver, not Victoria, Vancouver, British Columbia. Beautiful city. I've been there a couple times. Highly recommend visiting. I mean, if there were
Great
tickets
wrestling
available,
city.
if tickets were available, I'd say take a trip there. It's a beautiful city, great place, and that's it.
Horrible hockey team. Horrible hockey
Can't
team.
win them all, right?
Awful.
Hey, you
Awful
got a
hockey
jersey
team.
for him.
Hey, that wasn't bought by me though. I didn't buy that.
All right, guys.
Another freaking Canuck bought that one.
Let's go ahead and do our plugs. This guy, anything you would like to plug or promote? We got to get you a graphic. Jeff, you got to help him with a graphic.
And I apologize for that. He did send me the information he wanted to put out there. I have just been lax because of other shit going on, and that's my fault. So I'm sorry.
Fair enough. All right, this guy, what you got for us?
And yeah, Jeff, understand. I mean, it's life. It took me a few days to even get you the information in the first place, so like that's on me. If I could remember it real quick, basically the only thing I usually like plug is my my wife's crochet business. Crochet. If I could just scroll it, I should have been looking for it earlier.
Do we want to come back to you? So
yeah, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
I'll show it on screen. Like, yeah. Go ahead.
Right. And if you have like a screenshot, send it to me like through email or something real quick, and I'll put it up. If you have like an actual screenshot of the page or something, I could put that up for you.
Okay.
JJ, we're gonna throw it over to you. We'll go to this guy in a couple minutes here, so we can have time to do that. So JJ, what do you got for us? I know you're reliable, and Noah's the simple man. So what do you guys combine to bring to the universe?
Well, we got a lot of stuff this week. You can find me on socials, of course, Twitter and Blue Sky, ROWJJ Williams, Instagram, The Renegade JJ Williams. You can find and subscribe to all of the channels associated with the Simply Reliable Studios right there. The only reliable SRS in professional wrestling, damn it, and we no longer digress. Bunch of watch-alongs coming up this week. We're doing a watch-along for the Thanksgiving Dynamite. We're doing a watch-along for Turning Point on Friday. We're doing the WrestleCade Super Show and Survivor Series on Saturday, along with our Thanksgiving karaoke. We're doing Ladies' Night Out, part of WrestleCade, on Sunday. And then a retro watch-along that Noah and I finished filming just before we clicked the link to join your StreamYard, Aaron, for Turning Point 2004. That will be going up on Thanksgiving Day at some point to the entire masses. So all that content coming across the Simply Reliable Studios brands. And hell, Walter and James are doing a watch on right now at the GCW Bloodsport event. So once we're done here, feel free to join them and support them in their chat room.
All right. Well, thank you very much for that, JJ. Always a pleasure to have you on. So I'm going to throw it back to this guy, and we got your graphics. So this guy, you can go ahead and tell us what's up.
Unmute myself. My wife, she has a crochet business, Heather's Crochet Corner. Also, you can follow her or find her on Facebook as well as Instagram with this similar links. I posted it earlier, or I guess I sent it to Aaron as well. But yeah, it's on Instagram. It's in Charkley for her Instagram and Heather's Crochet Corner on Facebook.
Yeah, so search that on the outlets. You should be able to find it. So thank you for that, this guy.
Thank you, guys.
I sent you screencaps of both of those, Facebook and Instagram, and if you want to put them up there.
All right, well, I'll have to get back to that. Simple Man, Noah Foster, always a pleasure to have you on. Thank you for doing the Predictions League, as always. What do you got for us, Noah?
Yeah, simply put, it's always a pleasure. Forever grateful being a part of the NoDQ family, Aaron, and hosting these leagues and expanding them since 2017. And I will continue to do all 5 weeks again in 2025. So come join the fun, y'all. Again, you want to follow and engage with me and keep up Predictions Leagues? It's simple. Follow me on Twitter and on YouTube. And then Foster 1916. For all fans wrestling, shout out to AW fam. JJ basically did the rundown of everything I'm going to do collaboration with. It's starting tomorrow, of course, the City Predicting Survivor Series WarGames, and I'm sure me and friends of the City community will further dissect the men's WarGames Survivor Series match, particularly based on what happens on Monday Night Raw and more. But as always, you guys know what to do. You guys know what I'm about. I'm simply here to encourage you to adjust your life and enjoy wrestling too. It's truly as simple as that.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Noah, for that. And now we will throw it over to Gino. Gino, what do you got for us?
Yeah, nice to meet you, Noah. Guys, it's always a pleasure to be here. Looking forward to the next upcoming week of wrestling. Guys, you can catch me on pretty much every social media, whatever there is, PapaGino0017. I'll be live streaming some video games after this, so we're going to have some fun Sunday night. And I wanted to say that crocheting is really well done, this guy. So, Heather seems very talented. So that's flipping awesome. So thanks for having me, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.
All right. Thank you for that. We appreciate that. Jeff, I'll throw it over to you now with what you got.
Pretty simple for me. Just follow me on social media on Facebook, Instagram, Facebook, Blue Sky, and YouTube at Jeff Meacham. Instagram and Twix at _Jeff Meacham. And just tune in to all the watch alongs this week and all the recaps with Aaron and the watch alongs with JJ and the team at the Synth Rebel Studios. It's going to be a fun week. November's always a good month with Survivor Series and everything. I mean, Turning Point's on Friday for TNA. Can't believe it's been 20 years since we went to Turning Point. That's just blows my mind. It's been 20 years. Turning Point's on Friday. It does, man. It's crazy. So, yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff coming up this week. Pretty much every day this week, there's something on either the No DQ channel or the Across the Survival Studios. So you won't be hurting for content going into Thanksgiving. I promise you that. And if you're a football fan like me, today wasn't so good for us, but hopefully Thursday will be better. So enjoy the week, guys, and enjoy your families at Thanksgiving. And if you're not with your families at Thanksgiving, enjoy your Friendsgivings. That's what I'm doing.
There you have it. And here's an updated graphic with the Instagram account, right? This guy. All right. So yes, this is the link. Head over there on Instagram. Thank you, this guy. Much love to you. Thank you so much for being on. And that's it, everybody. Stay tuned to NoDQ.com this week. I'll be live streaming throughout the week, taking Thanksgiving off because, well, it's Thanksgiving. Visit No DQ. I'll be doing coverage on Saturday of Survivor Series, and I'll be back with a live stream on Saturday night. So make sure you guys tune in for all that. And Jeff.
And then next Sunday, you and I are doing the No DQ year-end awards.
Yes. Thank you for reminding me.
There you go. Next Sunday.
Next Sunday, same time slot, 8 p.m. Eastern. Yes. Myself and Jeff Meacham will be previewing the year-end awards. And I guess I'll throw out the invite to anybody else who wants to be on to discuss the year-end awards. Maybe I'll just throw out the link, and anybody that wants to jump on can jump on who's available. But we'll be doing that next Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern, the yearly annual year-end awards. We'll be giving our predictions for that. And until then, stay safe, everybody. Have a great Thanksgiving week. Stay positive. Love your life. Say yes to NoDQ.com, and we will see you all next time.
Have a good night,
Thanksgiving.